This conference will now be recorded.
So in the previous session, we have discussed about the SOQL query. And then we have discussed how to prepare the SOQL queries, and then how can we execute it, and how can we add the various classes in order to filter out the records by adding the proper conditions. So now let's see the where class. How can we use this where class as part of this SOQL query in order to filter out the records? Now let's see the practical part. Basically, where class is used to add one or more user-defined conditions along with the SOQL query to filter out the records. Okay, where class is used to add one or more number of user-defined conditions along with the SOQL query to filter out the records. Now, so then what is this where class and how can we add it? What is the syntax of this where class? Now let's see practically in this case. Now, like for example, as of now we have collected the record from the object. But sometimes I would like to add the conditions like this. Like I want to get only those account records whose industry is equals to banking. Sometimes I want only those account records whose active status is equals to yes. Sometimes I want only those cases whose priority is equals to high. Sometimes I want only those leads whose city is equals to some Bangalore. Sometimes I want only those position records, okay, whose location equals to, okay, some Pune. That means what I want to add some conditions. At that time, how can we add the conditions along with the SOQL query? By using this where class. So where class is used to add one or more number of user-defined conditions along with the SOQL query to filter out the records. So in order to filter the records, we can able to add one or more number of conditions with the help of this where class. Then how can we use this where class? Now let me explain the syntax. We can specify SOQL query, and then we can able to indicate the where conditions. Not only one, we can able to add multiple conditions also. That possibility is available. Now, let me give the node file. This class is used to add one or more user-defined conditions along with the SOQL query to filter the record. This class is used to add one or more user-defined conditions along with the SOQL query to filter the records from the result set. So whatever the records are collecting from the object through SOQL query, those records are called as result set. In that result set records, I would like to filter the records by adding some proper conditions here. Not only one, multiple conditions also we can add. N number of conditions we can add, no problem. There is no limitations at all. That's what I'm indicating, one or more user-defined conditions along with the query. Then how can we add these conditions over here, for example? We can able to specify where we can specify the field name. Okay, we can specify an operator. You know, if conditions, everywhere you have added the condition, same concept, no change at all. Field name, operator, and the value. We can able to compare. Okay, now in this case we can specify, I'm indicating where rating equals to high. Okay, you can specify where industry equals to banking. Just the difference is in if condition we are going to be comparing. Okay, how if rating equals to hard, that means we are using double equals, but here we have to use single equals only here. That is the difference, nothing else. Exactly same like as your if conditions. You know, okay, that's what I have given some strong basics on the fundamental part. Spend some more time on the fundamental part so that will be very easy for you to implement the further concepts. If you know that if condition, for loop, and the collections, the remaining concepts are very, very simple. Nothing else. Now we are indicating that where industry equals to bank, and we can specify where annual revenue greater than some 25 lakhs, where location value is equals to something. We can specify where email ID not equals to null. Like that, we can able to add some conditions. Here we have added one condition. Here is one condition. Here also one condition. Here also one condition. Sometimes you can raise a question. Sir, can I add two conditions? Yes. How? By using logical operator. Same concept. Now we can add multiple conditions also. By using where class, we can add multiple conditions as well. We can add multiple conditions as well. Like for example, we can specify where industry equals to some finance and annual revenue is greater than 40 lakhs. Observe the difference. There in if condition we are using like this. Here we are using ampersand, double ampersand, and but here we have to use ampersand. This is the difference. These are the two differences available. Okay. Upon using the comparison, we have used single equals to. Here for the logical operators, we have to use the words. Don't use the symbols. Don't use like as double ampersand. Here we are using this, and that is the difference in SOQL queries. And then we can specify where amount value greater than some 1 lakh and stage name equals to close to last. Like that, we can able to specify the conditions whatever you want. Not only one, multiple conditions also we can able to add along with that SOQL query through where class to filter out the records. Then how can we do that? We'll see practically in this case. Now, let me show you some practical use cases. Here I will show you some different concepts also. Same where class, how to pass this value at runtime also we show. Okay. Different ways, whatever the ways I know upon implementing the code, all the ways I will give it to you so that how to use it. Depends upon your application requirement, you can use it. Generally, nobody will discuss all these ways. Simply, they will close that SOQL query concept in 1 or 2 sessions. How to write SOQL code, that's it. They won't discuss all these classes. Simply in one sentence, they will discuss. But we are discussing in detail with some use cases as well. Now, let's see a small use case. Write an Apex program fetch all the banking account records from the object and represent the records from the debug library. So write an Apex program to fetch all the banking account records from the object and represent the records of the debug library. So I want to fetch all the account records which are having the industry values equals to banking. Only the banking account records I want to fetch. I want to fetch only banking account records. How can we do that? Now let's see it practically in this case. Now, let me go with our Salesforce instance. Let me go to the developer console. So open the class which I prepared previously. That is database helper. This is a class which I prepared previously. Now, I'm preparing one more method over here. Public static void get banking accounts, get banking accounts. Then how can we write this SOQL query? You know that. Now I'm writing this SOQL query. Now select ID of the account, name, rating, industry, annual revenue, phone, fax, active status from account. Okay, from account where industry equals to banking. Where industry equals to banking. I want to collect only those account records where industry equals to banking. That means please collect only those account records whose industry value is equals to banking. And then store those records inside my list collection over here. List of account. List. I'm collecting those account records from my object. You can split the query to the multiple lines also, no problem. That already I have given this information. Okay. Now here I'm going to be indicating that how many number of records are available inside my collection. Okay, whose industry equals to banking. That means how many banking account records are available. I want to collect it. So that here I'm going to display the collection size. System.debug collection size is I want to indicate. LST account start size. I want to show those records for each and every account ACC from LST accounts. I want to show that system.debug account record is ACC. I'm displaying this account record. That's it. Displaying this records is same, no change at all. Same story, no change. Just how to write the query, how to add the classes, that is a bit different.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in the query, can we add if condition?
In the query, you can't add any if conditions.
Because like
Why, what is
just
the condition?
The doubt is like industry is equals to banking or annual revenue is more than 1 crore.
Okay, then at that time, if you want to add two conditions, then you can specify R condition you want to add. You can specify R annual revenue is more than 1 crore. That's it.
Yeah, sir. But only one condition should satisfy. It will accept even two conditions also. If at all it is banking and revenue, at that time also it will execute, right?
You want to check what?
Here, industry is banking and annual revenue is 1 lakh. Any one condition should satisfy. Like any one
Okay.
condition.
That's what here we have used R, right? If any one of these condition is satisfied, it will be returning those records to you.
But if both conditions are satisfied, then also it will return, right? It should not.
Even though you can go to that if conditions also same condition, because even though it may be return satisfying one condition, it will return. It won't cross check the second conditions again. If one condition is satisfied, then it will return that record to you.
Okay. So if at all industry is banking, if it doesn't satisfy, then it will go to revenue.
Yes, right.
Okay. So
it will check that industry condition. It will check that industry condition over here. If the industry is banking, it will return that record simply. It won't cross-check the second condition because one condition is satisfied. Suppose if the industry is other than banking, then it will check that annual revenue value of that. If it is more than 1 lakh, it return that record.
Okay.
If both are not satisfied, it won't return that record again.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Now. So now let's see. So in this case, how can we execute this piece of code? Now let's see practically in this case. No. So let me execute this piece of code right now. So now here I'm going to be collecting this account record as part of this requirement. I'm collecting the account record. I'm collecting this account record. So whose industry value is equals to banking. Okay, whose industry value is equals to banking. Now, once the records has been collected, then I'm storing those records inside my collection. Why I'm giving collection? Because I don't know how many records are there with the industry value. If I'm defining simply like as a single variable, if more number of records are there with the industry banking, it will be a problem. It will raise some exception. To avoid that problem here, I'm going to be defining the list collection. So that it may be having 0 records also, 1 record also, 2 records also, 10 records also, it will store inside my collection. Now, so now let me execute this piece of code. Get banking. I'm invoking the method get banking records. Click on execute. It is returning only those account records whose industry value is equals to bank. Select the debug only checkbox. Now we are able to fetch. Totally 19 records are available whose industry value is equals to bank. Like when you observe these records, industry values are always banking. Here also industry banking, industry banking, industry banking. So all the records which are having industry value as banking. Remaining records it won't return. Whatever the records are there which are meeting this condition, only those records will be getting returns to you. Remaining records will not be returned over. So at that time, if you want to apply this kind of filters, we can able to use that where class. Through where class, we can add one or more number of user-defined conditions to filter out the records. Let me place this code. So now let's see some more examples. I will give you that only query part is sufficient for me. Okay, let's write some queries because here displaying this information is same story, no change. I don't want to spend the time, so that here I would like to write only the query part. Up to this query part is sufficient for me. Now let me take some small use cases. Let me write some queries also. Now, so let's take that small requirements. Write an SOQL query to fetch only those cases whose priority is high. How can we fetch the case records? For that one, I'm going to be using this SOQL query. List of case. List of case. I'm indicating LST cases. I'm writing the query, select ID of the case, status of the case, priority, and the type, and the reason, origin, subject, from case object. Up to this part is same. And then after that, we can add where clause. Where, what is the condition? Priority equals to high. Okay, priority equals to high. That's it. So whatever the case records are there, whose priority is equals to high, only those case records we can able to collect from our object also. Next. Now, one more query. Write an SOQL query to fetch all the active users. All the active users. So whatever the users are available inside my object, okay, all the users information I would like to fetch whose active status is equals to yes. You know, all the users information will be storing inside that user object. So I want to collect all the users. How do you know whether a user is active or not? There is a column is available, is active. Is active field is available, which is a checkbox. If it is a true, that means user is active. If it is false, that means user is inactive. I want to collect that. So for that one, I'm using this list of user. LST users. I'm collecting the user. Select ID of the user. First name of the user, last name, email, username, is active from user object, where is active equals to true. Okay, is active equals to true. This is a user record which I'm fetching. So these are the various users whose active status is equals to true. That means these are the active users. Next, take one more use case. Write an SOQL query to fetch all the lead records whose annual revenue is more than 1 lakh and whose industry is finance and whose email ID is not null. These are the three conditions I want to verify. I want to check the three conditions. Now, upon fetching that lead records, I want to collect only those leads whose annual revenue is more than 1 lakh rupee, and then industry should be finance and email ID should not be null. Then how can we do that? Let me collect those records. List of lead, LST leads. I'm fetching the lead record. Select ID of the lead, first name of the lead, last name, email, title, annual revenue, status, industry, company, from lead object. What will be the conditions then? Where industry equals to finance and email ID not equals to null and annual revenue more than 1 lakh. These are the three conditions I would like to verify. Okay, these are the three conditions I would like to verify. Okay, we can able to. So I want to verify these three conditions where industry equals to finance and email ID value not null and annual revenue should be more than 1 lakh. So these are the three conditions I would like to verify so that not only adding one condition, multiple conditions also we can able to add upon fetching the data. Next. So let me write one more query. So write an SOQL query to fetch all the position records whose status is in progress. Whose status is in progress. And whose maximum budget is more than 15 lakhs. I want to add two conditions over here also. I want to add two conditions. So list of position. This is a custom object. LST positions. I'm fetching the records. Select ID of the position, name, location of the position, and the position status, comma, maximum budget from position object. From position object, where position status equals to in progress. And maximum budget is greater than 15 lakhs. Okay. This is how we are going to be adding the conditions. Not only one, multiple conditions also we can able to add along with that SOQL. This is the way we can able to write the SOQL queries along with some conditions. Now, here I would like to show a strange functionality over. I would like to go with another mechanism, okay, to write these conditions. Now, here we are passing this value. Suppose whenever I'm executing this SOQL query, this query will always return only those cases to me whose priority is equals to 5. Sometimes I want only those cases whose priority is equals to medium. What we can do? We need to write one more query there. Sometimes I want to collect only those case records whose priority is equals to low. That means low priority cases I want. Then we have to write one more query there. That means I'm writing multiple queries to fetch the records based on that priority. To get that low priority cases, I'm writing one separate query. For the medium priority cases, we are writing separate query. For the high priority cases, one more. Can't we write single query for all these things? Yes, there is a possibility. That means what? So now this value I would like to pass dynamically at runtime. Okay, this priority value would like to pass dynamically at runtime. How can they pass? Let me show you practically by using parameterized procedures concept. Different ways of writing the code. In this case, note, upon preparing the queries, we can pass the values of the conditions dynamically at runtime by using parameterized procedures. When passing the value with the help of parameterized procedures. By using parameterized procedures, we can able to pass the values at runtime. Dynamically at runtime, we can able to pass those values also. That possibility is available. Then how to pass these values? Now let's see practically the syntax. Syntax is we can specify where field name, and then we can specify that equality in the colon value. Okay, whatever the operator that you want, we can specify the operator. And then colon value. That's it. Colon represents dynamic assignment. Colon represents dynamic assignment. Then how can we do that? Now let's see practically in this case. How can we implement this functionality? No, let's see practically. No. Let's take a small use case. Now I want to implement a functionality. I want a procedure right now. Okay, I want a procedure like this, which will take some parameter at runtime. Based on that parameter, it has to collect the respective records. Okay, based on that parameter value, it has to collect the records at runtime. How to do that? Now let's see. Let me take that small use case. Write an Apex program to fetch all the account records based on the specified industry name at runtime. Based on the specified industry name, I want to fetch those account records from my account object. Suppose if I'm passing the industry as banking, it has to return banking records. If I'm passing the industry as finance, it has to return finance records. If I'm passing manufacturing, it has to return manufacturing records. If I'm passing like as technology, it has to return technology related records, like that. Depends upon the industry name which I'm supplying at one time, it has to return those records to me. Now, let's see how can we do that. Now, let's see practically this case. So let me prepare a method. Public static void get accounts by industry. Here I would like to pass the industry name. Industry name I'm passing as a parameter. We can give any parameter name. Okay, simply name also, IND also, whatever, anything. We can specify the industry name. Industry name is what? string, like as banking, finance, insurance. These are nothing but some string values. So that here I'm going to be defining one string parameter. I'm defining some string parameter. So now let's see how can we fetch only those records based on the industry name which we have supplied at runtime. I would like to supply this industry value at runtime. It may be banking, finance, insurance, anything, whatever you want, we can supply, no problem. The query will collect those respective records. That means we can make that query centralized. We can make that code generic. Instead of writing that multiple queries, okay, to fetch the data from different industries, we can able to write only one query. Then how can we do that? Now let's see. So I'm passing that parameter called as industry name. So based on this industry name, I would like to fetch the respective account record. So first of all, we have to verify whether this parameter is having some values or not. I want to verify. If the industry name parameter not equals to null, and then industry name parameter not equals to empty. That means if the parameter is not null, if the parameter is not empty. Now, I'm verifying this industry name parameter value. I'm verifying this industry name parameter value. So if it is not null and if it is not empty, then what we can do, we need to write that query over. We need to collect the data. Now, so I'm collecting this account records. List of account, LST accounts. Select ID of the account, name, rating, industry, annual revenue, form, tax, active status. From account, where industry equals to colon. Colon means dynamic assignment. What is that? Now industry name parameter variable. This is a parameter. That means to this parameter, whatever the value that I'm supplying, please replace this value in this location. And then we can able to get the records. Now, for each and every account record from the collection, I want to show system.debug account record is SCC. I would like to show this account record. This is how we are going to be adding this condition dynamically at runtime. For this condition, whatever the parameter value is there, this value we can pass dynamically at runtime. If you want to check for the annual revenue also, we can specify. Okay, annual revenue. I'm passing one more parameter. Annual revenue is what? Decimal revenue amount. Here we can able to specify that condition also. And annual revenue is greater than, which is specified at colon revenue. Okay, two parameters we have to supply at runtime over here. One is string type, second one is a decimal type. Both the parameters we can able to supply, both will be getting applied over here. Based on these values, it will be reflecting over here. That possibility is available. Like that, we can able to add multiple parameters, multiple conditions also at runtime. That possibility is there.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So if it is dynamical, what is the database.query? Or that method is also dynamical, right?
That is also dynamic, but there we are adding the condition dynamically at runtime. Here we are passing the values dynamically at runtime. Okay, the whole condition we can write at runtime dynamically by using database.query method. Okay, but here we are passing this value dynamically at runtime. Only this value, condition parameter value, we can pass at runtime. In the database.query, we can pass this whole condition at runtime also. That possibility is there. We'll see. Dynamic SOQL queries also will show you. Today we are discussing about the dynamic SOQL query also.
Yes, sir.
Now, so in this case, based on this industry name, I would like to fetch the account records. Whenever I'm passing the industry name like as banking, with this name banking, whatever the accounts are available, I want to collect. So where industry equals to banking, that value will be substituting in this place so that we can able to prepare the conditions based on that values and we can able to fetch the records. Now, let me execute this piece of code. So get accounts by industry. I would like to pass the industry name. I'm passing like some banking. If I'm passing banking, it will fetch only those banking related accounts. That means whatever the account records are there, whose industry is equals to banking, those records will be getting returned to. So click on execute. We can see the results. So select the debug only checkbox, only the banking industry records will be getting returned to you. Only the banking industry records will be getting returned to you, not the other records. Now, suppose if you want only energy related industry accounts, then what we can do? Just you can go to this and then specify the industry name, energy. With this energy industry, whatever the records are available, we can see only those records. So instead of writing this multiple queries, we are writing the query only once and then we can able to pass those values dynamically. So here it is indicating this. So now here the industry is energy. We are also industry energy related, energy. So whatever the accounts are available whose industry is equals to energy, those records will be getting. Suppose for example, I'm going to passing this industry like as some education. Whatever the industries are account records are available, whose industry is equals to some education, we can able to fetch. Select the debug only checkbox. It is indicating two records are there: University of Arizona, industry education, testing user account, industry education. Two records are available. Like that here, depends upon the requirement, we can pass the values at runtime. Based on that, we can able to fetch the records also. So that we can form the condition at runtime. This is the way we can able to make that code centralized. We can make that code generic. Instead of writing the multiple queries to get the records from each and every industries, so we can able to write only one query and then we can pass that value to the condition at runtime with the help of this parameterized procedures. Yes.
If we have two parameters in the method, Then how can we pass value for the parameters in the database window?
Sorry?
If we have two parameters in the method, then how can we pass values for the parameters?
So same here also. Here itself, we have to pass the parameter, comma, second parameter value. Suppose, for example, second parameter is in the decimal type. Then you can pass the value like a some 25 lakhs. Pass the multiple parameters. You know, parameterize the procedures concept. Same, no change at all.
Okay.
Okay. We can pass that multiple parameter values also. So let me place this code.
Excuse me, sir. In this condition, if condition, what is the difference between null and empty string?
If you want to pass the null value, then we have to specify that null value over here. Like instead of specifying
So
this
null
one, we have to
empty
pass. Null is different and the empty space is different. Okay, both will be having some different recognitions inside the database. Okay.
Okay.
So now, as of now, we have discussed how to use this where class in order to fetch the records, okay, from those objects by adding the proper conditions. So let's go with the dynamic SOQL queries. So what do you mean by dynamic SOQL query? Dynamic SOQL queries are used to add the conditions to the query dynamically. The complete conditions we can able to add at runtime to the SOQL query. That possibilities, so that we can able to execute it. We know already we have discussed about this. Okay, the theoretical information already in our starting class of your SOQL query itself. There we have discussed about that we have two types of SOQL queries, static SOQL, and then second one is dynamic SOQL. So what we can do, dynamic SOQL queries are used to add the conditions to the query dynamically at runtime. What are the columns you want, we can add the columns to the query at runtime. What are the conditions you want, we can add the conditions to the query at runtime. That possibility is. So upon executing this dynamic SOQL query, we have to store that SOQL query inside a string variable first. First of all, we have to store that SOQL query inside a string variable, and then we need to execute that query manually. We need to execute that query manually by using database query method, which returns the result always in the form of list collection. Okay, which returns the result always in the form of list collection. Then, how can we use this dynamic SOQL query? Now let's see practically in this case. Now, let's take a small use case. Write an Apex program to fetch all the case records from the object based on the specified status. Based on the specified case status at runtime, I would like to fetch those case records. Then how can we prepare this SOQL query, and how can we execute it, and how can we fetch the results? Let me show you practically. I want to prepare this query by using dynamic SOQL query mechanism. How can we do that? Now let's see practically. Now, Let me prepare an SOQL. Public static void get cases by status. I would like to pass that string parameter. Case status. Case status is like as new, working, closed, and then escalated. These are the 4 status options are available as part of this case records. Now I want to create the cases based on the status which was applied. If I'm passing the parameter as new, it should return only the new cases. If I'm passing the value as working, it has to return only the cases which are currently in progress, nothing but working status cases. If I'm passing closed, it has to return only the closed cases information. Like that here, depends upon the case status which was applied at one time. I want only those case records. And how can we fix that? We'll see practically in this phase. Now, first of all, I want to verify whether this parameter is having any value or not, so that I'm verifying this. If case status not equals to null and case status not equals to empty. Now I want to write an SOQL query which is of type dynamic SOQL query. How can we prepare that? String parameter. String cases query. I'm giving that variable name as cases query. Let's write that query. Select ID of the case, status of the case, priority of the case, type of the case, origin, reason from case where status equals to colon, we can specify that parameter case status. That's it. Okay, where status equals to colon case status. That means whatever the parameter is available here, this parameter value, please substitute in this location. And then execute this SOQL query. How can we execute the dynamic SOQL query? By using database.query method, which will be returning the result in the form of list collection. So now my query name is what? This is the query which has been stored inside a variable called as cases query. Pass this variable. So it will be executing that. It returns the result in the form of list of case. LST cases. From there we can able to show for each and every case record CS from LST cases. I want to show that case record. System.debug case record is this. That's it. Simple concept. So in this case, I would like to collect all the case records information. Whatever the cases are available, I want to collect all the case records information from the case object based on the case status. Whatever the case status I'm supplying at runtime, based on that case status, it has to return the respective case record. If I'm passing the status as new, it has to return only new records, new case status records. Now, so now here in this case, here how can we execute this piece of code? Now let's see. So let me execute this another. I'm passing the case status as. If I'm passing new, whatever the new cases are available, only those new cases will be getting written. Click on execute. Select the debug only. It is returning only those cases which are having the status as new. Only the new cases information will be getting written. Suppose if I'm passing closed, only the closed cases information it should return. Select the debug only checkbox now. You can see all the cases whose status is equals to closed. These are the cases are available whose status is equals to closed. Sometimes I want to get only that working cases information. I'm passing working. Click on execute. See that cases information. Select the debug only. It is indicating there is no cases are available which are having the status equals to working. It is empty. This is how we can able to collect the cases information by passing the case status at runtime by using dynamic SOQL. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Is it possible to execute line by line? Like where would it start and how will it end?
No, we can't verify that. If you want to cross-check that, we have to go to the debug log file. We can't have any breakpoints. Like when you go to some other programmings, like when you go to some .NET, you will be having the IDE. There is a separate environment is available. So there we can able to put a breakpoint. From there, keep on, we can track line by line, we can able to check it out. How it is executing, what values are there, we can track. But in Salesforce, we don't have such kind of breakpoints, and we can't track each line by line statements. If you want to track line by line, the only thing is we have to write the system.debug statement after each and every line separately. In that one, we can print the message.
Okay, thank you.
Next one. Next one, I would like to have one more small use case to fetch the records count. To fetch the records. How many number of records are available inside an object? I want to know that count. How to do that? Now let's see practically in this case. Let's take one more small use case. Write an Apex program to fetch the count of records exist in the lead object. I will show you both normal static SOQL. I will show you dynamic SOQL both. How to implement that. This functionality. There is a different feature is available. I will show you that one also as part of this example. So let me write an Apex program to fetch the count of records exist in the lead object. That means in my lead object, how many records are available? I want to get that count. Then I want to execute that through static SOQL also, dynamic SOQL also. Both I will show you practically how can be. I'm preparing a method. Public static void get records count. How many number of records are available inside that object I want to. I will show you with both the static SOQL and then dynamic SOQL. How can we do that? For that one, I'm writing an SOQL query. Select. We are using a function called as count. The count from lead. Okay, count from lead. I want to get that count. So now this count function returns what? A count value. So that here it will be returning that integer. Integer record count. And we can be able to show that. System.debug lead records count. count is records. This is the way we can go with that static SOQL. So now as part of the static SOQL, I'm using this count function. So count function I'm using in my static SOQL, which is returning the result in the form of integer. Let's see. So now static SOQL query can return either a integer value also, collection also, single record also. That means a single object of associated type. So static SOQL query can return the result in the form of the integer parameter type, list parameter type, and then single object of that associated type also. These are the three. But I want to do the same by using dynamic SOQL. How can we do that? Dynamic SOQL. So in this case, prepare that SOQL query first. String leads count query. I'm preparing that SOQL query. Select count from lead. Select count from lead. I would like to have prepared that query. I want to execute it. How database start? There is a method called as count query method, which will return always integer. Okay, see, this is a new function. It's a common question in every interview. What is this count query method in database class? Database that count query method is used to execute a SOQL query, which is used to count the number of records available inside that object. So in order to execute an SOQL query, to get the count of the records available inside the object, we are using the database start count query method. Here we can able to pass your query variable, which returns the result in the form of integer variable. Integer leads count, and we can display system.debug records count is leads count. That's it. This is the way. It's a common question. What do you mean by database.count query? Database.query method will return always in the form of list collection. Then database.count query method will return in the form of integer parameter.
So, sir,
Yes.
how will this be dynamic SOQL query? Are we passing
So,
anything at runtime?
no, we are not passing here because we are executing this query at runtime, right? Because here we are passing this query. Which query we are passing to this variable, we don't know. Okay, we can pass some different values also. This entire query we can pass as a parameter to my method also, no problem. Okay. So now here in this case, how can we execute it right now? So let me invoke this method. I'm executing the method get records count. Click on execute. See the results. Select the debug only checkbox. Both are returning same results here. Even though it may be static, dynamic, both are returning same. So lead records count is 43. Records count is 43. Both are returning the same results to me over. This is how we can able to get the count of the records available inside the object by using both static and dynamic SOQL. So now in this case, dynamically at runtime, we have to execute this SOQL query, and then this query static, so that here we can, so it will be executing automatically by default. Upon preparing the query itself, whenever you are enclosing the query in that square braces, automatically query will be getting executed automatically by default. So this is the way we can able to use this SOQL query. Now, so let me show you one more small feature over here in order to fetch the records from the object. So now I'm going to be discussing about a feature called as in. So what is this in operator? We'll see. It's not a class basically. It has to be used along with where class. This is the most useful inside your real-time implementation. In most of the cases, in the further classes, we are going to be using this in operator. So in operator and then like operator. One more operator is there. In operator and like operator. Both are most important as part of implementation. In most of the cases, we used to use this in operator and the like operator. First, we'll see what exactly the in operator. What is the use? So what is the use of in operator? Now let me explain this. Suppose for example, forget about this in operator concept. Let me explain some small feature. Assume that I want to collect the account records whose industry equals to banking. I want to collect account records whose industry is equals to banking. How can we fetch? We are writing the query like this. Select ID, name, rating, industry, annual revenue, active status from. This is the query we are writing, and then we are indicating where industry equals to bank. This is the query we are writing. Okay, fine. Sometimes I want to fetch banking records along with insurance accounts. I want banking industry accounts and then insurance industry accounts I support. What we can do? What we can do? In this case, I need to prepare the query like this. I'm adding the preparing the query where industry equals to banking or industry equals to finance. Sorry, insurance. This is the query we have. That means either any one of the condition is satisfied. That means either the account record industry may be banking or insurance. Both will be getting reduced. Sometimes I want the account records related to banking industry, insurance industry, and then technology industry also. What we can do? We are writing these conditions. Banking, insurance, and then technology also. Then what we can do? We are adding one more condition: are industry equals to technology. Sometimes I want the account records whose industry equals to banking or insurance or technology or manufacturing also. I want manufacturing records also in this case. What we can do, we are adding one more R, and then we are indicating that industry equals to manufacturing. That means multiple times we are writing the conditions right, where industry equals to banking, industry equals to insurance, industry equals to technology, industry equals to manufacturing, like that industry equals to, industry equals to, industry equals to we are writing. In this case, it is occupying more number of characters. Yes. It is occupying that more code, right? Yes. It will take more time to compile, right? Yes. It will take more time to execute, right? Yes. It will be impacting on the performance, right? Yes. Then what we can do? How can we reduce this number of lines of code? For that reason, we are using the help of in our what we can do, instead of writing this industry equals to, industry equals to, industry equals to like this, what are the values you want to compare, just we can able to write inside this. We can able to specify that. Now, we can specify that syntax. We can specify where column name in, we can specify the values. Here we can specify the values. How we can able to write this condition, same condition we can able to write like this also. Instead of writing like this, we can able to write like this also. Optimized. I will give you multiple ways now. In this case, what we can do, we are going to write instead of industry equals to, industry equals to, industry equals to, we can able to specify where industry equals to, industry in banking, comma, insurance, comma, technology, comma, manufacturing. Now tell me, is it simple? Yes. It is looking like a bit simple. So previously what happened, industry equals to, industry equals to, industry equals to, how it is. So in this case, it will occupy more characters. It will be increasing the complexity in the query. It will be increasing the execution time also, which will be impacting the application performance. So that we can able to combine all these values over here, and then we can able to compare by using enough. That means if the account records industry is in any one of these values, then return this. That means I'm comparing this industry value with a collection of elements. So in operator is used to compare the field value with a collection of elements in non-short. This is one way. Next, the second one. Let me show you one more mechanism to write the same. So in this case, if I'm having some more number of values are available like this, then what we can do, we can store these values inside a string array also. We can prepare a string array such as IND industry names equals to new string array. Here we can able to pass these values also. We can define a string array. In that one, we can able to specify this, and then we can able to write the condition like this. In this case, instead of writing this one always, where industry in, we can specify that array name, that is industry names. That's it, simple. Okay, or else, let me give you one more mechanism also. Multiple ways I'm showing to you. Whatever the way you want, you can use it. I'm preparing a list collection. List of string, industry list, industry names list equals to new list of string. I'm indicating these values. You can store inside a list collection also, no problem. You can store inside a list collection also, no problem. And then we can able to compare with that query also. Here we can able to specify industry names. That's it. Simple. This is the way. we are going to be using this in operator. So in operator is used to compare a field value with a collection of elements. It is used to compare the field value with a collection of elements in one shot by using this in operator. Okay, now so in this case, now in this case, in operator is used to compare a field value with a collection of elements at a time by using methods. In operator should be always used along with the vectors. Along with the vectors. Syntax where field name in we can specify the values. R where field name in. Here we can specify the array name or collection. You can able to use. For example, I'm indicating this. Where array field name in, we are going to be comparing this field value should be in any one of these elements. If it is matching, then we can able to fetch those records from that object. This is how we are going to be using this in operator, and then how can we write these kind of implementations, we'll see in tomorrow's session. In tomorrow's session, we'll see the in operator, and then like operator we'll see, and then we'll move forward to that concept called as DML statements. How can we perform the DML operations? We'll see practically as part of DML statements. How to insert, update, delete, undelete, assert, merge, all these are 6 DML statements we'll see. Once we are done with that, we'll move forward to that one more concept, email programming, how to send the email notifications through programming, we'll see practically. And from there, we'll see that concept of, because we'll go with that asynchronous programming, batch programming, schedule programming, flex queues, future methods, triggers, visual force, all these things we'll see. Okay.